Hi, I'm Nancy Plants. If you are new to my channel, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. It's great to see you again. Today, we will be making barbecue jackfruit. So this is an alternate to barbecue pulled pork. Now, I get mine at the Asian market, and it's not super expensive. It's $2.50 a can, so I like to keep these in my pantry for a nice, easy meal. Now, this is delicious, but it's very low in protein. So I like to add my secret ingredient, tofu. So we're gonna add a little tofu to our barbecue jackfruit, and that's gonna make it more of a complete and balanced meal, which is a good thing. So I had already opened up a can of jackfruit a few days before, and I cut out the kind of center core part, which you need to remove to make barbecue jackfruit, and used it to make this kind of, it's a substitute for maybe spicy tuna. I mix the jackfruit cores with some edamame, mayo, and wasabi, and put it in sushi bowls. So you do need to rinse the jackfruit. You can also boil it afterwards. Some people do that. I don't, because I'm lazy. I'm just going to rinse it off and use it directly. So what you need to do is crumble the jackfruit with your hands until it kind of all comes apart and looks like, pulled pork. So this is what it should look like when you've kind of crumpled all of it. And I like to use about 2/3 of a tub of tofu and just smash it right up. It's fun. Now you're just gonna mix the tofu and the jackfruit together, spread it out onto a pan, and then I like to season it. I put a little garlic salt, some paprika, some cumin, and I also am adding some dried minced onion. I often will use fresh onion, but I felt lazy on this night. And then I'm gonna spray it with a little bit of cooking spray and throw it into the oven. I normally cook this at around 375. And after about 20 or 30 minutes or so, when it starts to get nice and brown like this, you can take it out of the oven. You can flip it over, brown it a little bit more in the oven, and once it's all nice and brown, you can add some barbecue sauce. So the lid of the barbecue sauce kept coming off when I was pouring it on here. I guess I was being a little too feisty. Use any kind of barbecue sauce that you like and mix it all in, and I like to put a little extra on the top. And I lost the cap again, so make sure you fish out the cap if it falls off. And I'm putting it back into the oven. And on this night, I was also baking some bread and making sweet potato fries to go with it. When the bread was done and everything else was done, it was time to plate my dinner. Now, I know people will say, don't slice the bread until it's cooled off, but sometimes I just can't resist the piping hot bread right from the oven. It's so good. So I'm just gonna put some coleslaw onto my bread, and then I also am gonna have a little more coleslaw on the side. The recipe for my basic coleslaw, I will link down below. I made a video about how I make coleslaw a few years ago, and it really hasn't changed. I'm gonna put some of the barbecue jackfruit, the higher protein barbecue jackfruit, on top of the coleslaw that's on top of the bread, and make 2 really nice open face sandwiches. I'm going to use my asbestos mom hands to get those sweet potato fries on the plate, and this is what it looked like. This was a really, really delicious and very filling meal, and I didn't feel hungry a half an hour later because the barbecue jackfruit actually had some substantial amounts of protein in it from the tofu. So this was a really delicious easy to make, and pretty cheap meal. And it's got all the good flavors. You know, barbecue sauce. I had some mayo and hot sauce to dip my fries in. It was so good. It was so good. And the fresh baked bread, chef's kiss. So thank you so much for watching. Me and Boo Boo really appreciate you. And if you haven't already, why not subscribe? Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.